Alright, well, welcome everybody. In this video, I wanted to compare the modern muzzleloader with our previous traditional muzzleloader that we had in the game. The new modern muzzleloader came with the New England map, so we have that for free, as well as the traditional muzzleloader that we already had, which was also free. So if you bought either DLC that brought those to the game, then those weapons were free. So that's across the board, that's pretty much the same thing there. So we'll get into our storage here and we will check the two together. We have the Curman 50 inline. That is the new modern muzzleloader that we got, and as you can see there, its weight is 4, as well as the Hudzik, which is our cap lock, which is our traditional muzzleloader that we previously already had in the game, and you can see there as well, it is 4. The only difference is to have this with a scope, you're going to have to get the muzzleloader scope that came with the Hudzik. So it's another half on your weight. So 0.5 on weight. So this is, to have this with a scope is 4.5, where the Curman, it takes any of the modern rifle scopes, and if you have it on another weapon, then you'll be able to use that. So it doesn't take up any more weight to have that sight. So if you're like most people and you have multiple weapons with you, that would take the rifle scope, 22, maybe even that 243 handgun there, or say you're 308 and you had that with you, then you could use that same scope, and that makes this weapon 0.5 on the weight less, and that makes up a big difference when you're carrying a lot of stuff. That could factor in quite a bit. But the real reason I want to compare them is as I've been using the Curman this week, I feel like that it has a little bit more drop. So what I'm trying to say is when I have it zeroed at 160 and I shoot something at 220 in the yards, I feel like I have to aim at the top of the back to get it to drop in. I don't feel like that's going to be the same issue with the Hudzik, because you can zero it out a little further, but we want to compare them as close as we can. We'll see if we can find the drop. That's what this video is mostly about. I want to see where that drops at. But we will go ahead and hit into the store here and we will check the ammo for them. And we'll compare the two ammos, which I haven't even checked to see if they're different. Alright, so we have the mini ball, and to buy the mini ball is $450. To buy the Sabo, $500. If you're going with the polymer tip. The hollow point is $450 as well, so depending on what you go for, at most it's a 50 cash difference between the two. So you're looking at $450. And I'm going to compare them to the 4 to 8 class versus, because the older traditional muzzleloader does cover 3 to 7 class if you use the balls, but we'll compare the apples to apples here as far as class 4 to 8. So there is 50 cash difference in the ammo, so not enough to really worry about there. And we'll back out and we'll do a little reload test here. Alright, so we were going to need our Hudzik here. Let's get it loaded with a scope put on it. Same with our Curman. Load that up, put the scope on it, and we're ready to go. One thing I will mention for my timed test is in perks under handguns, I have the lightning hands perk activated, so my reload time is maxed out, so it's probably slightly faster than yours if you don't use the lightning hands perk. Alright, we'll fire the modern muzzleloader and check the reload time. Alright, we're looking at just under 18 seconds for that time. So basically 18 seconds, we'll call it. Alright, now we're going to fire our traditional muzzleloader and check its reload time. Alright, we're looking basically the exact same time, so no difference there. The issue I was thinking about is, I'm sure they're dead on at 150, so we won't compare that, but we can compare them out to 200, and then we'll check 250 But what we're going to do is check them both zeroed at 164. So we're at 164 yards, but we're actually out there at 200 meters, and we'll just see how much drop there is. We'll go ahead and traditional. Traditional is right in that bottom black ring at 200 meters. All right, checking the modern. We'll change our 0 to 164 so it's the same. Just slightly, ever so slightly, a little bit lower based on my human error too. But I do believe it's slightly lower because I think I hit this for center, and I think the traditional I was a little bit low when I fired it. All right, let's go ahead and reset the target and move her out to 250 and see if there's a bigger difference. This is where a lot of people like to shoot at this range. We'll go ahead and go with this guy. We'll beat him back to 164. The traditional, generally, because you can zero up a little higher. Alright, so we're looking at just the bottom of the target out there at 250. So quite a bit of drop in that 50 meters. Quite a bit of drop at that 0. And if we're similar here, then what I was thinking in my head was totally wrong. Alright, so again, we're at 0 to 164, so we're the same. And let's see. Well, I shot just a touch high, so it's the same. We'll do that again. Yeah, that was touched low there, so it is exactly the same drop. I don't think there's any drop at all difference. The only other test we can do, we'll get to 164-ish, and we will try to punch into the same animal and see what kind of penetration we have, if there is any different in penetration. But as far as bullet drop, it looks like it's exactly the same when you're zeroed at the same distance. Now the modern muzzleloader, the max zeroing is 164 on the yards, and for the traditional, your max zeroing goes out to 218. 164 is the mid-range, so that is a bonus for it, just because you are able to zero up. It's a little less guesswork whenever you're trying to drop a bullet in. Alright, that'll work. We found a cow that's right as pretty square as we can get her. We'll sit right here at 164, and we'll try to put it right behind the shoulder, and we'll start with our Curman at 164. Hopefully we didn't get into the shoulder any. Just right through the ribs, see how deep we can get that penetration. And she's almost down, right? Probably there. Alright, we'll go check her out. Alright, there she is. Let's see if we got double lung with it at 164. Oh, forget you can't go past them anymore. Gotta almost be looking at them. Alright, so we got a single lung, and I shot pretty far back, so there was no, that was all thin. That wasn't too bad at all. We'll get right in here. So we got single lung, we didn't even exit the first lung. So that's less than I expected. I thought we were going to get into the second lung or close. So we want to shoot back on the next one, just in front of the liver the best we can anyway. So yeah, single lung, that's actually surprising to me. At that range, you'd think, Alright, so we flip-flopped the sides of the lake. That's basically where we were when we shot the other one. We'll try to get this to, say, 164. And so we're looking pretty good there. We'll get rid of our marker. But it's pretty much the same thing as the other one was. So we will get past our Curman, grab our Hudzik. Zeroed for 164. Wait till she gets nice and squared up the way she was. 164 with the Hudzik behind the shoulder. And we're dropping to 50. 25, 0. Feels like it's a little faster. Might have caught the second lung. We'll see. Alright, there she is. We'll have to see if she did better than single lung. And yes, much different penetration. We nearly exited the body. At the same yardage, we almost maybe even exited that lung. Just stayed in the cavity though, in the whole body cavity. But we did get double lung, which is going to be a much quicker kill rate than that single lung did with the Curman. So I'd say the penetration definitely goes to the traditional muzzleloader. You get a lot more penetration. You get a little bit further out on that zeroing. So that's quite a bit of a difference when you're looking for a quicker kill rate, especially on something large like a moose that's going to run a ways and take up some more of your hunting time. And especially if you're like me and you keep moving a lot, you want those guys to go down as fast as possible. You're much more likely to get into that heart easier, especially if you go through one of those leg bones with that penetration. So the old traditional is definitely going to get it done a little bit better, I would say. Alright, we're back here on the range from being out in the field and taking those two female moose. But when we compare the two weapons, there's a lot of similarities. When we're talking about the weight, both of their weights are 4. When you got to have the scopes on them, you add that half on the weight for the Hudzik or the traditional muzzleloader. So if you don't have the room for it, that could be a factor. It might not be, but it could be. When we're talking about zeroing, you get a little bit farther. You get to go out to, like, I believe 218 on the zeroing for the traditional, where 164 is max for the modern muzzleloader. And then the drop out when we're zeroed at 160s at 200 and 250 was almost exactly the same. It was right on, spot on the money, pretty much, with minus my human error. And then when we go to ammo cost, you're looking at 50 cash more for the modern Sabo versus the mini balls. So that's really not a factor in the game. And when we get to the reload time on them, with my lightning hands perk on, they were just under 18-second reloads. Basically exactly the same timing minus my human error. The big difference comes at the end here whenever we tested penetration. And for the modern muzzleloader, getting a single lung at 164, right broadside, behind the shoulder, nothing but ribs, and we get one single lung and we don't even exit the lung. And then you can see here with the traditional muzzleloader where we had the 164 yards with the mini ball, and we almost, I believe we exited the second lung. So we double lunged it, almost exited the whole entire cavity, but that's going to drop your prey a lot faster. It's going to get that quick kill in there a lot better, and you're not going to have to spend as much time looking for your harvest. If you're a muzzleloader hunter like myself, I enjoy using them a lot. I like using the muzzleloader, and now with the new modern muzzleloader, the best part of that so far for me is the sound. I love the sound of that inline muzzleloader and that cracking that open and popping out your cap. It's very similar to my IRL muzzleloader that I have. It's a break open as well, and the sounds just remind me so much of that. It's pretty awesome. So when I need to use a muzzleloader, if there's no forcing me, I think the traditional is going to be for me because I want that penetration right now. And I'm kind of sad the Sabo didn't perform as well as I thought it should have, but hey, it's just a game, and and maybe with more testing, maybe it would be different. But I don't think it's going to be, because whenever I've been hunting in New England with the new muzzleloader, with whitetail I had no issues. I was dropping them left and right. But when I got to the moose, I noticed they're running for a while. I'm like, this isn't normal for my muzzleloader hunting with moose. Normally I get them down a lot quicker, and that's what made me want to do this video. Besides the drop, I felt like I was having to aim much higher out at 200, but I guess I wasn't. I always have that zeroing, so I never had to think about it. I guess I never thought about it at all. Being able to zero up and put it right where I need it. So the drop, which is what I kind of thought this video would be about, wasn't even an issue. But the penetration, that was definitely an issue. That's a big deal. And with all that being said, I'm going to have to hurry up and get back out on the New England woods. I got a lot of zones to check still, lots to do. I really appreciate y'all taking time to watch the video. It means a lot. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe to stay notified and shoot the like button to help others find the channel. If you didn't, thank you for watching this long. Back to work on the next video. Until then.